everyone. How are things? This is Ask Dr. Ben. All right, first one. Dawn asks, so if you use more than one injection site, will that allow a more thorough spread of the vaccine? Yeah, all right. Interesting question. So there are different ways to vaccinate, and they all kind of have the same goal. And yeah, it involves running into something called an antigen presenting cell. Once you get to one of those, then I think your vaccine has a chance. So there are lots of ways that people do this in mice, for example. You can vaccinate intraperitoneally. We do that because it's the easiest, which just means putting it into the same, sort of chamber that's holding all your organs. And that just lets the virus run around and eventually find something to infect, you hope. Or you can put virus in that way, or you can put a vaccine in that way. Now, vaccines tend to go intramuscular. So what they're trying to do there, they're injecting it into a muscle. Your muscle cells are, I don't know, dumb. I think of them as kind of the little, I don't know, like weightlifter bro cells. Just, that's exactly like you would think. So these things are not heavily involved in much of anything that I know of besides flexing. Yeah. So, yeah. But embedded in muscles, and in fact in any tissue, but in reasonable numbers in muscles, you're going to have antigen-presenting cells. So there's some of these little guys that live like sleeper cells in a spy movie. They just sort of camp out in the organ and just play it cool until something happens, until some sort of virus, some sort of injury, whatever happens. And then they're right there and they can respond. Maybe it's like having a little neighborhood policeman, something like that. Yeah. So that's, I believe, the main target. You're hoping that you hit one of these either directly or indirectly. Like if you were to hit a cell and the virus were to stick to the cell, then the antigen presenting cell can wake up at some sign of danger that the cell might put out and can go and check it out and pick up little pieces. And the antigen presenting cell's job is going to be to take whatever the heck it has found. And it has a special way. It basically burps it up and covers itself in little pieces of this thing. But it'll take this to somewhere like a lymph node, for example. And there it's going to run into some of these cells from the smart side of the immune system, and hopefully they're going to try and make a match. They're going to say, here, I got this thing, and I can't bind it. This next one can't bind it. This next one can bind it. And boom, once you get a connection on both sides of this thing, then that cell gets rewarded. That cell can go on to make more cells. They can try to sort of tweak it a little bit. It's called somatic hypermutation. They can try and change just little tiny tweaks. And then you can end up with a better version of an antibody or a T-cell receptor or something like that. That's the super basic version. And oh my gosh, are there more levels to this? But yeah, so injecting it into more sites, maybe you get more of these little antigen presenting cells. Yeah. But also injecting more into one site, maybe more of it hits an antigen presenting cell. And once any of this stuff hits the bloodstream, it's going to go whizzing around the entire body every couple of minutes. And it's going to run into various kinds of cells. And so there are different ways. And I don't believe it's known for sure, like exactly which kind of cell has to pick this up. Or maybe it's just that you can vaccinate in several ways and still get the same overall effect. But making vaccines is tricky. You're relying on a lot of chance events going just right in your favor, and it doesn't always happen that way. So, and of course, your genetics also play a big role in that. Not everybody's going to respond to the same vaccine in the same way. And it's not like you're going to, swell up and die usually. It's more like a certain percentage of the people, you'll put the vaccine in there and their immune system will just go, what? What do you want me to do with this? Yeah. And they won't really make a response. That's a thing that definitely happens. So, good question. And so what's the answer if we can boil it down to a word? Not really, but yeah, if you could deliver it into the right cells specially, then yes, that totally would work. But injection's such a crude tool as it is. You're just kind of poking a metal hose into your arm muscle and hoping that some of the stuff out of the syringe goes somewhere useful. Yeah, and doing that more would make more painful injection sites and generally just annoy people. It's hard enough to get people to use needles right now. And apparently at the moment there's also a bit of a needle shortage in the world, at least in some parts of the world. And multiple injections might mean multiple needles if they're different injections. So, yeah, there you go. Thanks very much. This was Ask Dr. Ben.